And I speak more Spanish there than I do Portuguese. Spanish and English, Spanish and English. So many guests only speak Spanish. And then every once in a while, there will be a group of people coming in from Brazil, and my brain will like freeze because I'm used to speaking in Spanish at work, and then I have to speak Portuguese, and I'm like, "Hola, cómo estás?" And they're like, "Damn it, no, that's not it." So I have to restructure my brain a little bit. But yeah, that very first class, that was cool because I had seen your name. We had just moved to Burbank, only like a couple months before, I think, and Celeste and I both agreed like we need to get in shape. We just got married. Let's like get into a good habit of being like a
How'd you guys come to
fitness
LA?
couple.
Or how'd you move to LA?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Florida, right? And after I finished high school, I didn't want to go to college initially because, like I mentioned, I struggled in school a lot. I was very much like go with the flow. I always knew I wanted to do something important,
But to sit down in a chair and
study. I just wasn't like with school, and I think in part it didn't necessarily have to do with like anti-education. It's because I didn't like the way that the school structure is. I've more recently in the last couple of years learned that like I learn better through audio and then through like kinesthetic learning, those different styles of learning.
in jiu-jitsu, right?
Jiu-jitsu for sure, yeah. I mean, even outside of jiu-jitsu, when I started even taking acting classes in LA, there's different ways of memorizing. Like I am not good at memorizing, and people in middle school and high school, whenever my history teacher would be like, okay, say the preamble to the Declaration of Independence or whatever, because we had to memorize it for extra credit. And I'm like, I know the first 3 lines. And they're like, how do you want to be an actor? And in my head, I'm like, I don't know, but I know I want to be an actor. So I got to figure that out. And then I moved out here, and there's different ways to memorize. You can memorize with your body. You can do different kind of things where, you start to memorize by incorporating motions. And then as you memorize that way, then you can retain it in your brain.
You said motions?
Yeah, with motions.
Like movement.
Movement, yeah, for sure. One of my main acting professors since I moved out here, his name's Scott Sedita. He learns the same way as me. So when he has like a whole script, he'll beat it out and he'll like write down like these are the moments, the different intentions and feelings throughout the script. And then for each intention, he adds a different movement. That way, as you're memorizing the line, you're saying it, you're doing whatever it becomes a part of you, and then you do it over and over and over and over again, the reps. And then when you have to perform it, you've done it so much, it's already in there. And I didn't know that you could learn any other way other than here's the paper, repeat it 1,005 times. And growing up, that made me feel so insignificant. And it made me feel like I was an idiot because why didn't I learn like the other kids? I think people probably would have said that I had ADD or ADHD or whatever.
Learning disability.
Right, all that stuff that like, maybe some people have, actual significant ADHD or whatever, but like I don't think it's that. I think it's people learn differently.
For sure.
There's a great TED Talk from, I think when the TED Talks first started, and it's like Sir Ken something. It's like a British guy, and then he's talking, you might have seen it, it's very popular on YouTube, but this guy's talking about how the lady who directed the choreography for a lot of big Broadway shows like the Phantom of the Opera, Cats, all that stuff, they told her parents that she was had learning disabilities and that she was going to have to go like a school for special kids, all that stuff. And the parents were freaking out. They were like, what are we going to do with our daughter? And they took her to a shrink, and the shrink was like, give us 1 second, and like turned on some music, left the office, and the little girl started dancing. And the shrink was like, she's not special or anything like that. She's just a dancer. Put her in dance school. She learns by moving.
Damn,
so
genius. That's smart.
They put her in that dance school, and she became one of, if not the most successful choreographers to ever work in Broadway. And so when you limit people like that, you really start to ruin potential. And
have you seen Scott Sonnen's TED Talk?
I think I don't think so.
He was diagnosed with like learning disabilities. He was dyslexic, And it's like, he finishes, right? Like if you judge a fish by how he climbs a tree,
exactly,
right? Like they're gonna grow up thinking they're stupid, right?
It's horrible
when they're actually a genius. He's like a suppressed genius, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to think that or like have those opinions growing up. It was like do school or you're disappointing us type of thing.
Right.
And so after I moved out here, so I finished high school. I didn't want to go to college. I was ready to join the Marines. I had all the paperwork and everything because I always aspired to have that sense of like camaraderie and also like bigger purpose. And I felt like even in high school, I felt like that I might be able to find it there. So like I went to the recruiter office by myself. My mom and dad were super mad at me. They were like, "What?" Because also in Brazilian mindset, it's like if you go to the military, you're forced to go to the military because everyone there has to do the active duty